Alien doctors wouldn't treat humans until learning we're from Earth. Dr. Calreth, a highly respected Sylvani physician, tapped his slender fingers against the metallic console. The glowing display listed the latest emergency patients brought in from a deep space skirmish. One species name flashed in red, human. His mandibles twitched in distaste. Reject treatment, he ordered. Doctor, his assistant, Vorka, hesitated. They are gravely injured. The Galactic Medical Accord states we must treat all wounded. Halrith narrowed his luminescent yellow eyes. I will not risk contaminating our facility with such a fragile species. They are weak, biologically incompatible, and unpredictable. Every record suggests treating them is a waste of resources. Let them expire. But before Calreth could move on, a deep voice echoed through the chamber. Are you truly so ignorant? Calreth turned sharply. A towering being stood in the doorway, clad in a ragged, blood-stained spacesuit. His face was pale, his expression hard. A human. You refuse to treat us because you think we're weak, the human said, stepping closer. The overhead lights reflected off his dark eyes. Doctor, let me teach you something about my kind. Calreth instinctively stepped back, but regained his composure. Your kind does not survive critical wounds. Your biology is delicate. Your immune system has conquered countless plagues, the human interrupted. Our bodies endure infections that would liquefy most species. We survive diseases for which there are no cures. Our bones mend, our muscles regrow, our blood clots faster than most. Halrith flicked a mandible in skepticism. Your species perishes so easily. Your lifespan is short. The human chuckled, but there was no warmth in it. Short, but not weak. We die, but we don't break. We adapt. We endure. We were born on Earth, a world that tries to kill us at every turn. Do you know what Earth is? The Xelvani doctor hesitated. A death world, a planet classified as too hostile for intelligent life. Exactly, the human said. We evolved there, and we thrived. The gravity on our planet is nearly double that of yours. Our atmosphere has storms that tear cities apart. Our oceans are home to creatures that can kill with a single bite. Our ancestors hunted beasts 10 times their size with nothing but sharpened sticks. And still, we became what we are. Calreth was silent. Vorka, meanwhile, was subtly reviewing human medical data on his console, his wide eyes growing wider. The human continued, his voice steady. You're afraid of treating us because you think we're weak? That's where you're wrong. We're the only ones who can be on the brink of death one day and be back on the battlefield the next. We adapt. We recover. We fight even when our bodies are broken. And right now, I have wounded friends who need help. So, doctor, will you let them die, or will you prove your medical ethics mean something? Calreth hesitated. Everything he had believed about humans painted them as fragile, short-lived creatures. But the man before him stood tall despite his wounds. His heart rate was steady. His body, battered as it was, had already begun healing itself. Vorka cleared his throat. Doctor, the data confirms it. Human physiology is unusual. Their bodies can withstand shock at levels lethal to most species. Their healing capabilities. Calreth exhaled slowly. He was a doctor, sworn to heal. He could not let ignorance cloud his judgment. Prepare the operating room, he ordered. Bring in the wounded humans. The human smirked. Took you long enough. Calreth met his gaze, a newfound respect forming. If you survive a death world, perhaps you are not so weak after all. We're not just survivors, doctor, the human replied as the medics rushed past them. We're warriors, and we never quit. The operating room was filled with a quiet urgency. The medical staff worked efficiently, tending to the injured humans. Calreth monitored the procedures closely, fascinated by the resilience he was witnessing firsthand. One soldier, a young woman with deep lacerations, was already regaining consciousness despite the trauma. Her body was stabilizing, wounds knitting together with surprising speed. You'll be all right, Calreth said, almost to himself. She grinned weakly. Of course, Doc, this is nothing. Lost worse in training. Calreth exchanged a glance with Vorka, who shook his head in disbelief. Doctor, their bodies show an extraordinary pain tolerance. I don't understand how they remain functional after such injuries. The man who had confronted Calrith earlier entered the room, his suit stripped to reveal numerous scars. "Welcome to human biology, Doctor," he said with a smirk. "We don't go down easy." Calrith sighed. "Perhaps I have underestimated your kind." "Most do," the human said, crossing his arms, "until they see us get back up."